Okay, today I want to talk about what you can expect when you want to make a transition professionally. And first, let me tell you, I've done it. I'm not talking about what I've just studied, I'm talking about what I've lived. So initially, my professional training is as a chemical engineer. And so I worked as a chemical engineer for a while, and then I realized there's no way I can do this long term. And I made the transition to pharmaceutical sales. Everyone on my engineering team thought I was crazy. All right. So I had won an Innovators Award. I had been given assignments in Belgium. So it wasn't because things were going wrong. I'm saying that it's important that you hear this because sometimes, or so often, we're conditioned to believe that we can only make transitions when things aren't going well. You could also make a transition when you just don't feel like this is a fit anymore. That what you're doing, the life you're living, is just not aligned to what you're feeling on the inside. So I just want to make that point. Switched to pharmaceutical sales, worked my way up to be an executive pharmaceutical sales rep. And then I made another transition into being a life coach. And then I made another transition into having a life coaching business. So currently, I'm a life coach and business strategist for women who are like me, kind of nerdy. You've done the same thing for decades and you're like, I need to do something else. So this is what you can expect. It's an acronym that I came up with that I've learned and discovered just from over 10,000 hours of coaching and just in my own life, right? After over 20 years in corporate and then transitioning to being an entrepreneur, it's what I call the WAR. The WAR, W.A.R. The W stands for worry. You will have a lot of temptation to worry when you're making transition because most likely you're coming from a relatively stable environment. What I mean stable is you're used to getting a check every 2 weeks. You know the ins and outs. You know the politics. It's that old saying, you're familiar with the devil, you know. And so our brain does not like change. And so you will have a lot of invitations to worry that will this work? Will I be able to make the money, for example? Will I be successful? The A stands for anticipating the worst. And I get this a lot because most of the women I coach come from compliant professions like me, whether it's engineering, medicine, they're attorneys, they're accountants. Basically, you've spent a lot of time with SOPs, with protocols, with procedural things that have to go a certain way. And while that works in a corporate space or in a hospital or, for attorneys or for accountants, the rules, but there comes a time in our lives where it's time to break the rules, or more importantly, make your own rules. And so a lot of transitioning is about transitioning, especially for high functioning, high achieving nerds. It's about unlearning. So the R in WAR is about ruminating and the tendency to just continue to turn over the same thing over and over and over again in a very unsupportive way. So what is the solution? The solution is to invite peace. And the only way, at least I've found in my experience, when you are wanting to make a transition is to get support. For me, I know there is no way I would have been able to make the transition from an executive pharmaceutical sales rep to my own business because everyone I was around, they were going to do that job until they retired. Everyone I was around was talking about all of the benefits of staying the same, right? And this isn't to put them down. It's just that I knew that I wanted to go on a different path. So I had to get support. And it was my coach the first coach I hired, business coach, she had left an HR executive position to become a coach. So finding someone who has done what you want to do and who understands that nerdy bent, that high achiever, high performer, For me, that's been difficult to find. A lot of people that I met online, amazing people, but they didn't have like a career that was 2 decades long, so they didn't understand the emotional disruption that comes with transitioning when you've done something else for a couple of decades, right? They may have been in a job a couple of years or 3 years before they started their own business, and God bless them, that's great, but it's just not my path. It wasn't my journey. So I want to invite you to take the next step of peace if you're experiencing this war, and that's to set up a consult with me. My business is called NextLevel Life and Business because I realize there's always next. There's always next. And coaching helps to compress days of indecision into days of decisive action where you're moving forward consistently. So just go to Cledra.com, CLEDRA. You'll scroll down and set up a consultation. Listen, the first quarter of 2025 is pretty much in the books. And if you're creating the results you want, great. But if you're experiencing war, also great. Own it and choose peace. Set up your next level consult, and I'll see you soon. All right. God bless you. Have a wonderful day, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.